This tutorial is to show you how to use the ACL settings, which is providing permissions for different staff and caregivers. So from the left-hand side, go to the settings. There's two ACL settings. The one here is the old one, and then modified ACL settings is just easier to use. So let's go to that one. Okay, so you can see here, we have different sections that you can open and close. So the first is the dashboard access. So this is giving access to the tabs for caregivers or foster parents, staff, children and youth, and placing agencies. So for the super administrator, we've checked all of those. The super admin or the 10.0 user generally has access to everything, unless it's a feature that the agency's not using, and then it could be turned off. Okay, so the super admin has access to all of those. The director as well, admin assistants. So if we go down the line, just scroll over here, you can see under the supervisors, they also have access to everything, but the caseworkers, we just have given access to the foster parents and the children and youth. We haven't given them access to the staff or the placing agencies, simply because not all staff are going to need permission to everything, nor do you want them to have permission to all of their reports. If we scroll down, you can see we have admin staff, IR, POC, CLEO staff, and then you have your caregivers, your foster parents. So the full-time foster parents, the new applicants, the mentor homes, and the relief for relief for part-time homes. Then we have a 2.0 caregiver that we aren't really using, drivers, placement students, and then you've got your child and youth worker staff at the back here. Okay. If we look at like the accounting contractor here, they really don't need access to any of those. The bookkeeper probably doesn't need access to the children and youth, so you could uncheck that. Okay, so now we're going to go on to the reports. All right, so this is like the payroll report, all of the expense management items. So the director has access to a lot of them. The bookkeeper, we want to make sure they have access to everything. And then the supervisors and caseworkers, they probably just need access to very few of them, like the caregiver payroll report, if they're going to be looking at expenses in the expense report. And then for the CLEO staff, which is the drive coordinator, you'll want to have access to the drive invoice, driver payroll report, things like that. So you'll just go through. For the foster parents, they just have checked view expense report, and that's for them to view their own payroll report. Okay, then we have all the clinical reports here. So caregiver reports, placement reports, relief reports, on-call. And this status report, there's an old privacy report. That's why it's unchecked here for even the super admin, because it's just not being used. Same with the old learning plan report, but there's the new status report here that we have checked off. So the supervisor will have access to a lot of those, as well as the case manager. If we continue to scroll down over here, you can see all of the reports. So there's a lot there. And it's just a matter of going through each report and figuring out who needs access to what. Okay, then we have the two-factor email authentication, or the TOTP. So that is when you use the app, either Google Authenticator or Microsoft Authenticator, and this is the one I do recommend. It is not checked right now. That means that it's not on. And this reset is important for like supervisors, 10.0 users, directors, so that you can reset the 2FA if it needs to. And this password expiration should be on for everyone as a safety feature. Then we have all of the We Drive, who can do what, who can delete drives, who can edit, etc. We have the expense and financial management. The expense permission escalation is like the eyes, so who can see that, who can see who's viewed it. Then we have the file and document management, so you can scroll down here, and it's basically who has access to all of the different staff categories. So if the accountant uploaded something to the file management, who can view that is basically what that is. So if you don't want case managers viewing the items that the super admin uploads, then you're not going to check it off for them. So if we scroll over, right here, the caseworkers can view what the 10.0 uploads. So if you don't want them to, make sure that's unchecked. Perhaps you just want the director and yourself to be able to see what you've uploaded. Okay. So people that need to be able to upload, including foster parents, you need to make sure that you click that they can upload files. So even new caregivers, new foster parents that are coming on, you may want them to be able to upload right away, drivers, placement students, and child and youth workers. So if you don't click that, they won't be able to upload into the system. So you probably want that clicked for everybody. And then you probably just want a few people that are able to create the folders or edit the folders so that it doesn't get too cumbersome. Okay, next is incident reporting. So who can view, who can manage the types, who can add an incident report from the mobile. So you probably want to check that off for foster parents and caseworkers, and who can view incident reports on the mobile, and who has the power to select the user. So you might just want that for a few people. Then we have relief and on-call. So relief management, if you don't click that box, they won't even see the relief management tab. Who can create on-call and view the on-call list, who can create on-call for the child and youth workers, and who can delete the on-call. Then we have the communication bulletin. So if you want people to be able to view the bulletin, you got to make sure that that's checked off. If you want them to be able to create, edit, delete, or manage the bulletin settings, and that's what that is. Then we have We Schedule, so who can view the shift log, who can manage the groups, who can add to it. It's pretty self-explanatory. All right, scroll up. Here we have different system administrations. So these are a lot of the 10.0 abilities to delete and backdate things. All right. And then last but not least, we have the ability to lock and unlock the profiles for the driver's child and youth, etc., and impersonating all the different users. So that's mostly the 10.0s again there. Okay, so if we scroll back up, you can also click this box. So this is based on roles, so foster parents, directors, etc. This is user specific. So if we click on user specific, it's going to give you the ability to add just one person, an individual user, to any of these. So if we look at the dashboard, so if we want to give one specific staff access to the caregiver dashboard, but not others, then we are going to select them this way. So maybe we want to give Leo, maybe there's two 5.2 users and we want one to have access to the caregiver list and not the other one, then this is how you would do it. You would select that individual there. And same with everything that's here. So that's how you pick just one user rather than a whole group. So if you only want one case manager or two case managers who are doing on-call to have access to all the caregivers on their phone and all the clients, and you could do it that way, just select individually. Okay, so that's what the difference is here between role-based and user-specific. We'll go back to role-based. And you can see it's by role. If you're having trouble finding something, you can search for permissions. So say I wanted expense management. I can just start typing in expense. Oops. And everything that has expense will come up here. So view expense management is the first one. So it's just an easier way to find things, specific things. If you're looking for maybe something about WeDrive, if I type in drive, it'll bring up everything that says drive. So there's driver payroll, driver invoice, WeDrive. So it's in different categories, but it'll bring up everything that says drive. So that's an easy way to do that. Okay. And then this just closes all of the accordion boxes. And then this opens them. And then if you search something, you can just click clear to clear it. Okay, so that's about it. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.